got ourselves a pretty nice evening on our hands. Maybe an isolated shower or two out to the west and northwest, but beyond that, we're mainly quiet and a little on the mild side, upper 50s to low 60s for overnight low temperatures. And then we get ready for another warm day across KELOLAND for Wednesday. Another slight chance for an isolated shower or two, especially along the Wyoming border, but overall, we're not doing too bad for ourselves. It will be warm though, mid-80s in many locations, a couple of low 80s here and there. We'll talk about the rest of your 7-day forecast, including updates on your Memorial Day weekend outlook coming up in just a little bit. But until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, KELOLAND News First at 4.
1,000 workers could be at risk of losing their jobs in southwest Minnesota. We look at why a pork plant may be closing.
Plus, come Memorial Day weekend, boats will be taking over lakes across the Midwest. We have a few safety tips to keep in mind while on the water.
And later, the winning pot for a game of chance is growing. Which charities it's also benefiting? Straight ahead. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. Developing this afternoon, Yankton police are investigating a woman's death. Officers were called to the 700 block of Walnut Street on Monday for an assault. Police found a woman with serious injuries. She later died at the hospital. Investigators say that a man named Adrian Lund is a person of interest in the case. Yankton police asked for your public's help to find him, but he has been located this afternoon. Authorities say more information will be released later. A man who escaped custody in Meade County has been found. Authorities say 18-year-old Caleb Richter escaped this morning as he was being taken to the Meade County Jail. Nearby schools had extra law enforcement on campus during the search. The sheriff's office says at about noon, deputies chased after Richter and took him back into custody. He was arrested for escape, assault, theft, and drug possession. The sheriff's office thanked the public for keeping a vigilant eye out for the suspect. All right, let's get a check of our weather. It has been a warm one out there, Kelly. 84 degrees right now in Sioux Falls. I definitely got a little sun today while I was out doing a story, Adam.
Yeah, it was certainly a great day to get outside. It wasn't humid. It was seasonably warm for this time of year. And we did at least have a light breeze. But unfortunately, we've had to also deal with that filtered sunshine as the smoke in the atmosphere from those Canadian wildfires just does not want to go away. Not yet, at least. I think we do eventually get some improvement in place. Here's a view of Falls Park, 84 out there with a southeast wind at 8 miles per hour. It has been rather dry in eastern KELOLAND, and quite honestly, I don't think we're going to be seeing much in the way of moisture anytime soon. East River. It's a different story out west, though. You can see that haze in the distance from our Rapid City camera, 81, south wind at 13 miles per hour. Overall, though, still, like I said, not a bad day to get outside if you have the chance to do so. 88 Mobridge right now, 84 Faith and Phillip, but 70 for Spearfish, 74 in Custer, 80 Pine Ridge as well as Buffalo, 91 again in Sisseton, 89 Aberdeen, 84 Watertown, Marshall, and in Spencer with winds not that bad, around 5 to 15 miles per hour in many locations. Slightly breezier up toward Aberdeen, Mobridge, Faith, and Sisseton, but they're the outlier to an overall decent day, even in terms of what we get on the anemometer. Much of KELOLAND is quiet, but we've had a few little isolated showers. One up in Harding County near Buffalo, and then Lawrence County seeing a couple of little cells try and fire up with the elevated terrain out that way. But beyond that, it has been very quiet locally and even regionally for that matter. There have been some thunderstorms up toward northern Minnesota, but they're going to stay off to our north and east. Low temperatures tonight falling into the 50s to around 60. We're mainly quiet as we head through the night. Your day tomorrow, another warm one, another breezy one as well. Mid 80s for highs tomorrow in southeastern and northeastern KELOLAND. But to the west, it's a bit of a different story. Yes, we do stay in the 80s the further east you go, but we could see a couple of 70s toward the hills, and it'll also be a little on the breezy side, windier at least than their East River counterparts. Out west, we're also going to be watching an increase in moisture. We begin a daily chance for showers and thunderstorms by Thursday, and it sticks around for really the majority of the upcoming Memorial Day weekend. Details on that coming up in your extended forecast as we head through the hour.
Thanks, Adam. The South Dakota Board of Education Standards has another vacancy. Steve Willard resigned Monday. Willard said he does not have the time to do the board justice. Willard and Terry Nebelsick of Huron were the only members to vote against Governor Kristi Noem's new social studies standards last month. Noem will appoint a successor.
Iowa's private schools are preparing for a wave of applications for the Education Savings Account. Governor Kim Reynolds signed the Students First Act into law, making state funding available for low-income families looking at private schooling for their kids. Bishop Heelan's director of enrollment says that up to 400 families with students already in school should qualify for the savings account program. The principal of Siouxland Christian School also expects a greater student body in the 2023-24 school year.
I think we'll definitely see growth. We've had a lot of interest since news of this has come out, mostly for families who have wanted Christian education for their family but just haven't been able to afford it or make that step yet.
Applications for Iowa's Education Savings Account are due by June 30th.
The potential closing of a pork plant in southwest Minnesota could leave more than 1,000 people without jobs.
High Life Foods finished buying the Windham plant earlier this year, but last month they announced that the plant could close its doors in early June if another buyer isn't found. The company has filed for bankruptcy, citing financial challenges from inflation, foreign exchange rates, and high grain costs.
John Lortzen with our CBS affiliate has the story.
I think everybody's concerned, and rightfully so. This is a big deal for Windham.
A town of 4,800 people has 1,000 jobs at risk. High Life Foods processes more than 1 million hogs a year and is easily Windham's largest employer.
You lose 1,000 jobs, that affects our downtown businesses.
Mayor Dominic Jones says it comes down to numbers. If the plant closes, the town would lose nearly $300,000 in yearly tax revenue, and the school district would lose 125 students. High Life has also been helping to pay for Windham's new wastewater treatment plant, and more than $2 million will be lost there if the company leaves.
We hope everything, works out. We find the buyer, and, we continue on.
But with a deadline of June 2nd, so far that hasn't happened. In a statement last month, High Life said, for some time now, the company has been exploring several strategic options that would have enabled it to continue go-forward operations despite these financial challenges. Unfortunately, so far, these efforts have not been successful. And then there's the farm side of this. A lot of hog farmers in the area contract with High Life Foods and rely on them for business. So do others in the egg industry.
The corn and soybeans that they use, to feed those pigs, come off a lot of the farms around here. So
Ted Winter is with Minnesota Farmers Union. He says a tax bill passed by lawmakers last weekend will help laid-off employees and with wastewater costs. But he says the best solution would be to find a new buyer that can help diversify the industry.
We don't need one great big plant doing all the pigs in the entire country. We need a lot of plants doing a lot of different kinds of processing.
In Windham, John Lortzen, WCCO News.
Mayor Jones wants to thank all the lawmakers and community members who helped secure $14 million for Windham if the plant closes. But there still is a lot of question of where the employees would work if they're laid off.